Thank you, Barb. Good morning. Here's where we're going to start today. An investigation underway after a massive 5-alarm fire at an Etobicoke business. Have a look at this. Now, crews were called to the scene, which is near Bering Avenue and Judge Road near Kipling and Bloor, just before 10 last night after reports of an oven fire. This building believed to be a deli and bakery. Luckily, there were no injuries reported, but smoke you can see here shooting through the roof. Now, our reporter Faiza Amin is live at the scene at this hour with the latest in this investigation. Good morning to you, Faiza.
Good morning, Mel. I actually just spoke with a Toronto fire official here at the scene who tells me the building behind me where the fire started has completely collapsed. And the weather has just complicated things for Toronto Fire, who has been here since last night around 10, as you mentioned, that they've had to launch aerial operations. You can see behind me 4 ladders currently at the height of it, 5 trying to contain the blaze here at the scene. The high winds have been fueling the flames here at the height of it, smoke billowing, flames billowing, and they could be seen from just miles away from high rises here. We know that gas and hydro have been completely turned off in the building, and luckily no injuries have been reported. Now, as I arrived here to the scene, I met with some people who actually worked inside this commercial building, and they were telling me that they were supposed to be working last night. It's a bakery inside. However, they were not able to get inside. On top of that, they also had their vehicles parked at the scene behind me. There are some road closures currently under effect, but that means these individuals have been waiting for hours to be able to get their vehicles, with them being told that there's no time as to when they'd be able to retrieve their vehicles and go home. As the sun is coming up, we're seeing more and more people arriving. It's quite a commercial area, and so lots of businesses here in the area. I spoke to a gentleman who works just down the road here at a building next to the commercial site, and he didn't know about the fire until he arrived here at the scene and was quite surprised to see the scene here. So this investigation still ongoing. The Toronto firefighters have been here since 10 last night. I just spoke with one passing me by, and he told me that he's been here since 3 a.m. So they continue to contain this blaze, and the investigation continues to be underway.
All right, quite the battle there. Faiza Amin reporting live for us. Thank you for that. Okay, and we're going to check back in with Faiza in just a little bit this morning as that investigation continues. And we're going to take you to another spot in the city, and this is where lineups for second COVID-19 vaccine doses already starting in Toronto hotspots this morning. So we are live here at Thorncliffe Park Community Hub. And as our camera continues to walk here, you're going to see hundreds of people already in line to get their second shot. This clinic doesn't open up until 8 this morning. Now, the pop-up clinic is to anyone who lives, works, or goes to school in an M hotspot postal code. Those in line early this morning say it's worth the wait.
Hi. Are you excited about getting your second shot?
Yes, very much so. Very excited. Been waiting a long time, so yeah.
I've been waiting for the past half an hour approximately. I thought coming in at 4:30 or 4:45 would be the greatest and ideal situation, but I just saw people already here and waiting.
Okay, so this clinic has about 2,000 Pfizer doses, but if you received a Moderna dose at least 28 days ago or an AstraZeneca dose 56 days ago, you can opt for Pfizer as that second dose. So at least people are in good spirits, but as Frankie was mentioning, it was a little bit chillier overnight, so we'll double check what time people started lining up this morning, but they brought the chairs and waiting just to get those shots into arms. We'll talk to them a little bit further this morning. Now, as the race continues to get first and second doses into those arms, Toronto is adding 30,000 appointments for the Moderna vaccine at city-run clinics. What you're going to need to do is register at 8 o'clock this morning for appointments between June 22nd and the 27th. The city is saying anyone booking a spot should expect to get a Moderna dose. This is the first time Toronto immunization clinics are offering Moderna rather than exclusively Pfizer. This afternoon, Mayor John Tory, Dr. Eileen De Villa, and Fire Chief Peg providing a COVID-19 update. As always, you can watch that one live. That's happening at 2 this afternoon. All right, Ontario's land and water borders with Quebec and Manitoba, they are now open up again for non-essential travel. The restrictions were first introduced back in April as the province battling a horrible third wave of the virus. Under the regulation, travel was only for essential purposes like healthcare, work, and transportation of goods and services. It is the last stop on Justin Trudeau's overseas trip. The PM and his official delegation have checked into a hotel to begin their 14-day quarantine. Now, the group is expected to quarantine until they have tested negative for COVID-19. Trudeau, of course, traveling to the UK to attend the G7 summit and then to Belgium for the NATO summit. The EU is expected to announce today that U.S. travelers will soon be allowed to travel to European nations again. However, still no word on when Canada's borders will reopen to international travelers. Stay tuned for that. Following the recent discovery of children's remains at a former BC residential school, Ontario pledging $10 million toward finding residential school burial sites in the province.
That's what took place. They wanted to wipe us out.
Over 3 years, the Ford government will use the funds to find unmarked graves and commemorate the Indigenous children found. According to the 2015 Truth and Reconciliation Committee report, there are already several residential burial sites identified, but yet to be investigated.
Preliminary work done here in Ontario by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has already identified 12 locations of unmarked burial sites in Ontario with varying levels of certainty and detail. We know there's likely more to this story.
Many Canadians admit to knowing little about the history of residential schools. So coming up at 7:30, we're going to have a panel discussion about the move to have more Indigenous history taught in our classrooms. Stay tuned for that. Right now, your time is 6:11. Coming up next, Air Canada can't catch a break. The airline carrier getting slapped with hefty fines from the U.S. We'll tell you why with Mike Heppel up next.